Welcome to Access to Employment's online interview skills guide. This presentation will take around 20 minutes. On completion, you will have a greater understanding of how to prepare and what to expect during online interviews. It will explore potential interview questions, how to answer competency-based questions using the STAR approach, and give example questions to ask employers. You will also be provided with a handout with useful links for information and support. During this presentation, we explore why do employers interview formats, preparation, presentation and performance, interview questions, interview do's and don'ts, and any additional support. There are 5 key reasons why employers interview. To check if you will contribute to or fit into an existing team. To discuss your application form, CV and experience. To get an impression of you and your personality, to ask relevant questions, and to find out if you have researched the job. We are now going to explore 2 types of interview, video and telephone. Video interviews can be either live or pre-recorded. Live interviews are a 2-way conversation between employer and candidate and are held via a digital conferencing platform or video chat application such as Skype, Zoom or Google Teams. Pre-recorded interviews involve a one-way session where the applicant is presented with preset questions and is required to provide answers via video recording software. Pre-recorded interviews can work in a variety of ways. A question will be delivered as audio, video or text. You will then either have to answer it straight away within a set time frame or have a certain time limit to prepare a response. Researching your potential employer is a vital first step in preparing for your interview. It not only highlights you're enthusiastic about the opportunity, but also helps you pitch your application and perform better at the interview, as you're able to demonstrate how your experience matches the company's culture and values. When researching, it is important to access different sources such as social media accounts including Facebook, LinkedIn, company websites and press releases. To assess the company's viability, have a look at Companies House and see if they are a good employer. Find out about the company's history, progress, innovations and key milestones. Their corporate values are often found in their mission statement or vision statements on the company's website. Before your interview, it is useful to look again at the job description provided and your application form. This should remind you of what the job entails when answering questions during your interview. It will allow you to match your skills and experience accordingly. It may also give you an indication of areas and questions the interviewer may focus on. Prior to your interview, it is beneficial to rehearse answers to standard interview questions. Take time to prepare answers which highlight your full skill set in different situations. If you don't have any work experience, think of examples from volunteering, hobbies or life experience. Also think about questions you would like to ask the interviewer. Often they are looking for you to have questions prepared rather than it being optional. A handout of interview questions will be provided with a link at the end of this presentation. Where are you going to be for your interview? The location for your online interview should be planned in advance. Make sure the background of your interview is as neutral as possible and free of any clutter. A blank wall, for example, is perfect. If you do not have a location with an appropriate background, you can use a virtual online background. A link to suggested virtual backgrounds and how to set these up is provided at the end of the presentation. We would suggest to test the camera and microphone on your device to check how the sound, background and lighting looks before starting your online interview. You may need to experiment with different locations to get the best natural light so you don't have a shadow or light beaming onto your face. Choose a quiet location where you won't be disturbed by noise. This includes people and animals. Let other household members know when you are doing your interview and ask that they don't interrupt you. External noise may be a distraction for you and the interviewer, so you may need to shut windows or internal doors to avoid unwanted background noise. Ensure to close any applications on your computer that may play notification sounds and switch your phone to silent if possible. Ensure there is no music playing or telly on in the background. In summary, it is a good idea to check all equipment in advance so you have time to resolve any potential issues before the interview. Test the computer or laptop camera and any software that you've been asked to use, ensuring all updates are complete. Try not to use a phone or a tablet. There are several different video conferencing sites that interviews can be held on, such as Zoom, Skype, FaceTime, Google Teams and WebEx. Therefore, it is imperative you have login details in advance in case you need to set up an account. When setting up an account or using a pre-existing account, check that your account name and picture you are using are professional. Get familiar with the platform you will be using, knowing how to join meetings and to use the share screen function can be beneficial. There are several how-to guides available on the internet, or speak with an Access to Employment advisor who will be able to support you. Carrying out a trial run of your online interview will enable you to both test the picture and sound quality. Any adjustments can then be made to your volume or screen as required. Check your internet connection and position your laptop close to the router or use an Ethernet cable if possible to minimise risk of the connection cutting out. Prior to your interview, check all equipment is fully charged and that your device is set up at eye level. A good example is to imagine you're sitting across a desk from someone in a room. Virtual interviews can feel like an odd process, especially if unfamiliar to you. For example, a face-to-face interview would normally begin and conclude with a handshake. This is not possible in a virtual environment, so practice a professional greeting such as a slight nod or a subtle raise of the hand. A trial run helps you get used to the interview site you're using, but also helps improve your performance. You can record yourself answering practice questions and watch it back to review your own performance. Answers to a question can often sound different out loud than written down, so it is a good idea to practice answers with family or friends before the interview. Some people find rehearsing in front of a mirror useful. Practice talking to the camera instead of looking at the screen. Carrying out a trial run will also make you aware if there is a sound delay online, so you are giving appropriate time between questions and answers to not interrupt the interviewer. If you have to prepare an online presentation as part of your interview, again, it is useful to have a trial run to see if you're keeping to the correct timings. A benefit of a video interview is that you can have some notes to hand. However, these need to be kept away from the camera. Avoid moving them during the interview, as paper rustling can often affect the sound and distract you from what's being said. It can be helpful to have post-it notes of key words or phrases you want to mention during your interview at eye level behind your laptop or computer. Some people find it helpful to have post-it notes or prompts stuck around the side of their computer screen. If you're taking part in an online interview, it is likely you're one of many candidates being screened for the next round, so you will need to make a good impression with the interviewer. Think about skills and experience you have that will set you apart from the other candidates. In an online interview, you'll need to go the extra mile to ensure your personality comes across in your answers and to build a rapport. Throughout your interview, you should be polite and professional at all times and avoid using any slang or swearing. Your interview starts as soon as you answer the phone, so practice a professional greeting and farewell. It may be tempting to just smarten your upper half, but dressing professionally head to toe will get you in the right mindset and also mean you are prepared if you have to move from your screen for any reason. Have a think about how your clothes will look on screen and avoid any busy patterns or bright colours. Whilst attending a video interview in the comfort of your own home, it can sometimes make you feel more confident. It can also make you too relaxed. Be sure to maintain good posture and keep your body language professional. Avoid slouching, fidgeting, or moving too much, and ensure good eye contact by looking into the camera rather than at the screen. It can be tempting to speak quickly when you're nervous, trying to get through the interview as fast as you can. Try to speak clearly and concisely when answering each question, and modulate the volume, tone, and speed of your voice. Doing a trial run can help you review your pace accordingly. Taking a deep breath to compose yourself if you feel you are talking too fast. Being online can prove a big distraction in itself, so be sure to avoid any temptation to browse or check your emails. It's also good practice to turn off notifications, stop downloads from all devices, and close any web pages as part of your preparation. There can also be the temptation to access things the interviewer can't see, like your phone or doodling. Just because the interviewer can't see what you're doing doesn't mean they won't notice you're distracted. Throughout your interview, appear keen and pay attention to what is being said. Remember to listen with your eyes as well as your ears, as they provide non-verbal indicators showing you're listening. Respond with positive enthusiasm to questions asked. Remember to focus on what you can do and not what you cannot, and avoid any temptation to speak ill of past employers. At the end of the interview, remember to thank those involved for their time and for considering you for the role. Let them know you're open to providing further information should they require. Ask when and how you will find out the outcome of the interview. It is helpful to know whether you should expect a call or email so you can answer any unknown numbers or check your junk mail. After the interview, take some time to assess your performance, what you think went well and what you could have improved on. Note down questions asked, as this might be helpful for future interview preparation. Make note of any feedback given from the interviewer. If you haven't heard back within a specified time frame, follow up with the company and ask for feedback. If you're unsuccessful, this will assist you with future interviews. Try not to get discouraged if you're unsuccessful. Focus on what went well and create a plan of action for those areas you would like to improve on. For example, could you look into volunteering opportunities to gain more experience? Sign up to a free online course to enhance your knowledge, or complete a mock interview with access to employment to practice your online interview skills. Unfortunately, no matter how well you prepare, there's always a chance that things could go wrong, so the important thing is to handle any issues competently and calmly. In an emergency, you should, if possible, apologise to the interviewer, briefly explain what is going on, and ask if you can call or email later to reschedule. Throughout the interview, remain calm and take a deep breath if needed. Don't be afraid to ask the interviewer to repeat or confirm questions. You can also ask, "Does that answer your question?" if you're unsure if you have answered what has been asked. Ask for a telephone number before the interview in case you experience technical difficulties. Tell them whether you'll be able to fix it in the next couple of minutes, or ask if you can continue by telephone until this is resolved. If you are interrupted, apologise and ask for a few moments until the noise has subsided. Mute your microphone and turn off your camera if you feel this is required. Before the online interview takes place, please check the following. Interview platform has been set up and tested prior. Equipment is working and fully charged. CV, job description and notes are to hand. Location is quiet and clear of any distractions. The background is free of any clutter. And your clothing is suitable and professional. Here we provide example answers to the most common interview questions, giving you tips on what to include and how to structure your answer. Tell me about yourself. Here the interviewer is trying to find out about you, your job skills and how well you express yourself. Do not dwell on personal issues. State your best qualification for the job. Be specific and include examples to support your statements. This is your opportunity to sell yourself. It is important that you have done your research about the type of work that you're applying for. For example, if you're applying for a production labourer and pre-interview research suggests that this type of work requires people to have the ability to meet quotas, work as a team and make improvement suggestions, then it is important for you to incorporate this into your strengths. What is your biggest weakness? This can be a difficult question to answer in an interview. You never want to give any indication of any weaknesses you may have. Turn your negative into a positive by working it to the employer's advantage. Have you done this type of work before? The interviewer wants to know if you can learn to do the job in a reasonable time and how much training you will need. Focus on what you can do, not what you can't do. Stress the experience you have, which will assist you in learning the new job quickly and efficiently. No two jobs are alike, so new skills, rules and details will all have to be learned. Competency-based interview questions are becoming increasingly more popular. Competencies describe the skills and attributes that staff need to meet future challenges. Open-ended questions requiring the interviewee to describe in detail past experiences which demonstrate their ability to perform the job are common. Normally, candidates are asked the same set of questions focusing on identical competencies such as teamwork, organisation and decision making. This provides consistency to the recruitment process. The STAR approach is an effective way to structure answers to ensure competencies are clearly demonstrated and explained. STAR is an acronym of the 4 stages needed to answer a typical interview question. Situation. Set the scene, giving the interviewer some context. Explain the project you are working on, who you are working with, and what you are working towards. Task. Describe the specific task you want to highlight to the employer and what you were doing in particular. What were your responsibilities? What were your goals? What problem were you solving? Action. What steps you took to resolve the challenge you were facing. What actions did you take? Teamwork is important, but state what your role in that team was and what you did to help. Result. Finally, describe what the results of those actions were. What were the outcomes of your actions? If a negative outcome, what did you learn from the situation? Using the STAR technique will ensure that answers are concise, whilst giving the interviewer all the information they need to understand your example and what competency it demonstrates. At the same time, it will also make sure you stay on topic. Here is an example of a competency-based question being answered using the STAR approach from Planet Plus. This answer given demonstrates a number of competencies: communicating well with others, the ability to listen and follow instructions, taking responsibility for a task, using your initiative, and working to a deadline. Be specific. The best answers give actual numbers and measurable achievements, demonstrating to the interviewer that your actions had impact. Keep it relevant. If the interviewer is asking you to demonstrate a specific competency, make sure your answer demonstrates that competency. Timing. As a guide, it usually takes around 2 to 3 minutes to answer a question. In that time, you should make sure that only the most relevant information is mentioned. Make it free-flowing. Make sure that your story flows as a normal conversation would and maintain a professional tone throughout. Questions to ask the interviewer. It is important to prepare a few questions to ask during your interview. Asking your own questions shows you are interested in the company and the job role. Remember, the interview is a two-way conversation. and you should use the interview as a chance to find out more about the company. Some questions you might want to ask are listed. Interview do's. Be enthusiastic and smile. Research the company and match your skills to the job. Dress appropriately. Use positive and professional body language at all times. Be on time. Interview don'ts. Don't highlight negative or criticise past employers. Don't interrupt or challenge the interviewer. Don't slouch or fidget. Make an impression from a distance. Look directly into the camera rather than at the screen. Don't be afraid to ask for a question to be repeated. Speak clearly and avoid rushing or mumbling words. Be aware of your facial expressions and posture. Pause before answering a question to be sure the interviewer has finished speaking. If you would like to discuss anything in more detail, receive one-to-one support from an experienced employment advisor, or take part in a mock interview, please get in touch with us via phone, email, or by requesting an appointment via our website. Contact details are provided in your handout.